Hey everybody, I am Anthony Remedios, co-umpire coordinator for Alpine Little League, here to show you a short tutorial on how to use Arbiter Sports, which is our scheduling platform that we'll use for assigning games, accepting assignments, or returning them back, as well as payments and pay sheets and all that other fun stuff. This is pretty much an industry standard platform that most, if not all, officiating associations out there will use. And I know some of you that are watching this tutorial right now are not from Alpine. You guys are either from D52 or high school association or somewhere else. But pretty much most of the content will be the same. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here and we will get started. So the first thing you're going to want to do is go to arbitersports.com. You'll see that right here. Easy, simple to remember. From there, you will want to sign in. So you'll click sign in, Arbiter Sports, sign in now. From there, enter your username, password, and now one of the things Arbiter has started doing lately is doing the two-factor authentication. So you will need to do you will likely need to get that text sent to your phone or other device. So that way you can uh, get in. It's annoying that they do that to you. Um, but that's just the way that a lot of these websites are set up nowadays. All right, so now this is what it's going to bring you to when you log in, especially if you are part of multiple associations like I am here. So you'll want to find the group that you're with. So right now I want to go to Alpine Little League and click official. That's going to bring you to this dashboard. Now, on this dashboard, you will see announcements that you can filter to either just one of your groups or all of them. You'll see your upcoming schedule with the few of the games that you have coming up. And over here on the left-hand side, it says ready to be assigned. This button is going to be really important because it's going to let your assigner know, hey, I'm ready and want to accept games. And when we as assigners are on our screen trying to assign people and plug people into games, we're going to see that you're available and because you're marked as ready. Also, this is really important for the self-assign feature as well. If you're not marked as ready, you're not going to see any self-assigned games on there. And conversely, if you don't want to assign games from a certain organization, maybe you're out of town or you just don't have time to umpire, you can simply uncheck these boxes. So you'll see that I have some of mine checked here and some that are not. So the ones that are checked are the ones that you're ready to be assigned for, and the ones that are not are the ones that you have said you don't want games for. So once you've done that, you can also get the ready button for each of your associations under this profile tab, which is where you're going to want to go next. Under here, you're going to see somewhat of a lot of information. First, make sure your first and last name are in here. And likely this may not, actually, you should be able to change this, if you, for whatever reason, need to. Your email address. If for whatever reason your email address changes, you can change that. This is the same email address that you logged in with. And this is also your contact email address as well, that all your game reminders, game changes, and all those notifications will get sent to. So you want to make sure that that is in there and that is an email that you check regularly. If you're a part of multiple associations under Arbiter Sports, you want to make sure you have the same email for each of those accounts so it can all be linked together under here. Like mine, this way all your assignments, all your blocks can be mixed together and to keep your schedule all up to date in one place. You also want to make sure that your phone number is listed here and make sure that it says public is what I highly recommend doing, but at least make sure that one piece of your contact information is public. Now, this doesn't mean that it's public to everybody out there on the internet, just the people that are within your association. So, if I'm not part of Alpine Little League, I wouldn't be able to see this particular information. Again, you want to make sure, that people can reach you at those contact addresses. Your address. You do need to put your correct mailing address in there. This for some of our associations, this is how pay sheets and checks are going to be sent out. But for us in Alpine Little League and eventually in District 52, um, we'll be using the electronic payment function through Arbiter Pay, but your address will still need to be in the system so that it can recognize where you're coming from. If you don't do this, you also aren't going to get any games. Now, you do see that there is a button here as well that other officials can see it. I don't check mine, but you can do as you wish there, but it does not need to be public if you don't want it to. You'll see some other information down here at the bottom that you really don't need to do much about. And when you sign up for Arbiter Pay, it's going to just link all that information right here. The last thing on this particular tab that I want to show you is how to add a profile picture. So if you click here where it says click to add, it's pretty much just like any other file upload that you've done anywhere else. So you click choose file. You'll go find that file. So for me, mine is on my desktop. You'll click open, upload, boom. It'll actually give you a preview of your picture, and then you'll want to click use this picture, and boom, now I have a profile picture on my account. So when people are looking at my account, looking for my contact information or before a game, they can see kind of what I look like, and that way, you can find each other easier. Of course, at the end, you're going to want to make sure you click save here up at the top. It's loading here, and boom. Now, I'm going to ignore this. It's going to redirect you to the schedule tab, but I'm going back to the profile tab for just a second here. The other thing you want to do before we talk about schedules, actually, there's two things. One is you want to go to this preferences tab right here. Okay, this is where all your notifications, where you will set how do you want to receive those notifications, by text or by email. I personally like to choose both, and sometimes I'll get to one or the other quicker. But what all these are, game reminders, a couple days in advance, you'll get an email or a text saying, hey, you have this game coming up, and it'll give you the details of the game, who your partner is, where and when, and all of that. New game time, right? If you've been assigned a new game, you want to be notified of that. If there's a new event, really, we don't use events in my groups that I work with, and I don't think in the ones that you guys are doing you will either. I just leave it checked just in case, but you can do what you want here. Game changed and unassigned. So game change is if there's, it's changed to rain out, or a time change, or a date change. You want to make sure that you're made aware of those. So definitely want to make sure that that's checked, as well as the unassigned. If you get taken off of a game for whatever reason, maybe you're getting assigned to a new game, or you said you were unavailable and or your assigner had to pull you off. The event reminder, again, goes with the same thing. But really the ones that we want to make sure you have are game reminder, new game, game changed, and unassigned. Those are the 4 that you must have notifications selected for, so that you're notified of those changes. You can also sync this with your calendar, sync your Arbiter assignments with, your Apple Calendar, and you can just click the button to embed that here. All right. Before we talk about games, there's one other thing that let's go ahead to the blocks tab here. Okay. This is where you will be able to set your availability. And this is really important for assigners that are doing manual assigning, like the high school group, like we will even do in D52 sometimes, your high school associations, your travel ball. And it's really important that you keep these calendars up to date. I know it's a pain, even for me, and especially with everything going on, and when I have about 5 different groups that I'm doing this with. So over here, you will see where you can filter your assignments, your availability based on the association, right? So if I were to uncheck everything except ACUA, if it'll load, this is what my availability looks like for that association. Let's say I uncheck that and now check Alpine Little League. You'll see it's a different set of availability. So when you're setting your blocks, just make sure you know what groups are checked over here. You can pick and choose which days you're blocking out for which association you work for. So, I'm going to go here to Alpine Little League. Okay. You'll see a color code here of what all these different color codes mean on a day, whether it's an open day, you have an assigned game that you've been assigned to, or different types of blocks. And then this is pretty straightforward. If you want to block all day, you click there, you go click on the date. And now I've said, hey, I'm unavailable on February 21st, and you won't show up as available. Same thing with a part day block. Let's say I only wanted to do, let's call it 12 to 2 on a Saturday. If I can find that here, right? Let's say February 17th. Click that. Now I put in a part day block for Alpine Little League on February 17th from 12 to 2. Now, let's say you're going out of town for an extended period of time, or you have a consistent day of the week that you can't work on those days. So you can use the little calendar tool here, just type in the date. Let's say I want to go from next Monday to, let's call it next Friday. And let's say that every day, actually even better, let's go Friday the 23rd. No, excuse me. Sunday the 25th through, let's say, Sunday the 10th, right? 2 weeks, let's say I'm going to be out of town. On the bottom here, so you'll put in that date range, and then on the bottom here, you can select what days of the week that is. So let's say I wanted to do it every day. I go to block all day, filter this, click apply. Boom. Now those 2 weeks have all been blocked. Same thing if you want to clear a block, you can just go to clear blocks, apply, boom, it'll do the same thing. Or if you just wanted to unblock an individual day like I do here, boom, now I've just cleared that block. You just simply click on it right here. Pretty straightforward. And again, on this multiple day range, let's say I only wanted to say, hey, Mondays and Wednesdays are my only days that I'm not available. You click the Monday and Wednesday, click apply. If it'll not freeze on me, that would be nice. What the? Oh, because that's clear blocks. Huh. If I go to block all day, click apply. Now you can see I put in blocks for those 2 days. Pretty straightforward, right? So I'm going to go ahead and clear those because I don't want these blocks in here. So it's really important here that you use your blocks. Again, if you have a block in for a certain day, you're not going to see self-assigned games for this, for those days either. If you want to block other things such as fields, teams. Oh, this is a really big one in Alpine. If you have a brother or, if you have a sibling or a parent who's involved with another team, we do want you to block those teams in Arbiter so that you're not umpiring those games. So let's say I had, let's say, for instance, in AAA XL, I had somebody that was part of that game, and I didn't want it, and I couldn't do it. I would want to click this button here that says check, click apply, and now I have blocked that team from any games. Same thing if I wanted to undo that. So something for me in Alpine, for any of your other associations, you probably won't have or need that option. But if it's there and you have a reason like that to use it, go ahead. Again, you can block certain fields if you need to, if there's certain fields that you can't get to, but usually I'm pretty good at, especially with the self-assign that we'd use in Alpine, that you guys can control that on your own and we'll work with you. All right. Now that you've set your blocks, you've set up everything in your profile, now we can go ahead and take a look at your schedule. So I'm going to click on the schedule tab. And I'll see that, oh, look, I have 2 games that I've been assigned, and I can accept or decline them. Pay attention here that under these accepted and declined games, there is a deadline to accept them by. And you want to make sure that you accept or decline them by these dates, because depending how the assigners have them set, after that date, if you don't accept or decline them, they're going to kick back as declined. And then you get a block put in for that day, and I have to go through a couple steps to undo that if you did want that game. So you just want to make sure you do that. Sometimes your assigner may not pull those games back from you, but just get in the habit of making sure you accept or decline them by those days. In Alpine, I will say that I do take the games back if you don't accept them. So I can see here position, plate, or bases, where, the day and time, division, location, and the teams. And let's say I wanted to accept it. Could click accept, submit. Boom. Now here you go. It's accepted. It's on my calendar. If I wanted to decline the game, I could do the same thing. Decline, submit. And what most assigners do is, if you do want to decline a game, it'll ask you to just write a brief explanation. This doesn't need to be a lot. Sorry for my alarm going off there. This doesn't need to be a long explanation, just a couple words, saying, hey, why you can't do it. And for me as an assigner, I'll understand, hey, you got baseball, you got basketball, what have you. So for me, I'm going to say class, continue. And it's going to load. And now I've declined that game. You don't see it on my schedule anymore. So that's how you accept and decline games. So pay attention to this page, as your assigners will sometimes throw games in there for you to accept and decline. And you should obviously also be seeing the emails and text messages for that as well. Now, after you've accepted a game and you have it on your schedule, you can click the game number right here. So 1084 in this case, and you'll see the detail. You can see more details of the game. This is where you'll see who your partner is. So let's say my partner is going to be Tillman Language. I would see that. I'd see his status of whether he's accepted the game, position, contact information, all that as well. Or in this case, I don't have anybody on it, so I'll just see that as blank. The last thing on the schedule tab that I want to draw your attention to is the game fees. In Alpine, all these are going to say 0 initially. That's because I have to go in later and input those game fees based on the way that our pay scale is set up. And it's also a way for me to know whether or not somebody was at and actually did a game, or if not, then I can change it. So it just makes it a little bit easier on my end. But for pretty much most of your other associations, especially in the high school group, you will see nominal amounts here when you accept them. Now, for me in Alpine, I will go back in for you guys and put them in as well. Now, if you wanted to see old games, by default, it's going to show you these games in the future for all your associations and all your paid status, right? But you have obviously different filter options. I can just say, hey, I just want to see games for Alpine Little League in the past. Or in the past, and I click apply filter. Now it's going to change that, right? So I'll see all that information. Now, in your self-assigned tab here, okay, this is where you will self-assign for games. You'll see all the games that you can sign up for, and I'll see, oh, hey, there's 2 games available, 4 slots I can sign up for. So just pay attention. Look here, you'll see plate on Saturday the 24th at 10 a.m. for majors at Ford Field. I can click go, and it'll assign me to the game. It says successfully assigned game as plate, the game number. If I go back now to my schedule tab, I'll see that game. Now, what you'll notice here is that one of these games says turn back assignment. One of these games does not. Let's say you accepted a game and you need to turn it back. In Alpine for us, you have until a week before the game that you can turn it back. And again, it's going to be the same thing. turn back, you send write a quick comment, and I'll get it, and it'll kick back. But if it's within a week of the game in Alpine, you have to go through me to do that. Reach out, text, or email us. That way it's on our radar that we have an open slot in case I'm not checking the schedule every single day, and all of a sudden, that way I don't get an open slot open up 24 hours before a game, and I don't see that. So that's why you see the difference of that here. In some of your other associations, you might always have to go through the assigner. So just be aware of that, and that's how you would do that if you needed to turn back a game. So there's the self-assign. Again, that's how the self-assign works. I just select the game, play it or bases, and it'll go. The last thing here on the master schedule, some groups are going to have these settings, some will not. In Alpine and in District 52, we do. I can't speak for other associations, but if you go here, you see all the filtered menus at the top. You would click, put in your filters, click go, and you'll see all the games that are in the system for that day, or for that, whatever that range is. If you see this view slots button here, you'll be able to see all the slots and who's on those games. So let's say you said, hey, Anthony's working on this day. I want to work with him. You'll see that. You can now reference what game it is and go sign up for that game. But like I said, not every association will have that setting enabled for you. So just another good way for you to check your schedule. And maybe if there is a day that you are available for and you see games that are open, but they're not showing up on your self-assigned tab, that means you probably either have a block set, you're not marked as ready to be assigned, or you don't have your address in your profile. Usually it's one of those three things. So that way you can check those as well when you're doing these. Other than that, that's about the basics of how you use Arbiter from an assigning standpoint and looking at your schedule. You can change the view of your schedule here if you wanted to see it by day, by month. Or, I just do the list view always. But whatever works for you, you can, of course, download this and export it if you need to, but I've never done that. The last thing on Arbiter is payments. In Alpine Little League and like I said, eventually in District 52, we will use the payment function. Other associations like the high school group, at least as of the time that I'm recording this, to my knowledge, are still doing it by check. So you may not need to worry about it, but just double check with your assigner if you need to do it. So on the payments tab here, if you don't have anything set up, it will show you at two buttons, one that says link Arbiter Pay, one that says set up Arbiter Pay. If you haven't used Arbiter Pay before, you'll use the setup, follow those instructions that'll show up on the screen. Pretty straightforward. On the link Arbiter Pay, that's if you've used Arbiter Pay in another association before and you just need to link it. You can do that here as well and just use the same email that you've used for both. But on here, once you have set up Arbiter Pay, it should look something like this. And it'll be blacked out once I edit this, so that way the personal information isn't on there. But you'll see the account number for your Arbiter account. You'll see recent payments, how much. You can see your balance here, and a button that says transfer your money, so you can transfer it to your bank accounts. Now, what you should also see here are at least, one of your external bank accounts, such as a Wells Fargo, Chase, what have you. What this Arbiter Pay system basically is like a Venmo system where when money gets transferred to your account paid from your assigners, it's going to go into your Arbiter account that you can then transfer out to your other bank account. So that's how you do it here. If you don't see any accounts listed here, just simply click the plus button. It'll again do the verification code, ask you all, and then just follow the information on the screen. You'll enter the routing and the account numbers, all of that good stuff as well. When you have, after you've been paid, or if you're waiting to get paid and you want to see how much it is, you go to this pay sheets tab here. And you can see here I have one unpaid pay sheet. I can click here to view it. It'll show me the game details, how much I'm getting paid for each game. And if there's any payment adjustments, such as you're getting a bonus or you're getting dues taken out. You'll see that broken down here as well, and it'll have a description and all those details for you. You can also click here, print selected pay sheets if you wanted to print it or save it as a PDF file to your computer. And again, if you wanted to look at old pay sheets that have been paid, you just simply click paid right here. And again, whenever funds do get transferred to your account, you should be receiving an email that will tell you, hey, funds have been transferred. So that's just about everything that I can think of here. Oh, one last thing. If you go to the list tab here, this is where it'll have your contact information for all of the umpires that are in your group. Simply click on it and it will you can see that person's contact information right there, their profile picture, etc. So let's say you're trying to get a hold of somebody to cover a game, or you just want, trying to look for their contact information to reach out in one way or another. You can do that here without having to go through me and get you the information. If you've never been to any of our fields before, you can click sites and you'll see all the site information here as far as the address and everything. So any field that we've ever used will be in this database. So, but that should be just about everything that you need to comfortably use the Arbiter system. I know this was a little bit longer than I was intending to, but hopefully it gave you a good introduction and a pretty thorough rundown of how to use it. So with that, thank you guys so much. Please reach out to me or your assigner if you have any questions. You should all have my contact information. But other than that, I wish you all the best of luck. Take care.